Warning: the live stream you are about to watch will contain strong messaging, nice suit wearing, and foul language, along with strong opinion. Viewers' discretion is advised. You've been warned now, motherfuckers.
While I'm fighting to achieve my fucking goals, I'm so obsessed with the quest that it is so absurd. I hope I don't end up in the back of a hearse. I'm focused on my time that I had left on earth. I hope my mama never had to put me in the dirt. I'm contemplating getting a couple bitches, have them in the fucking kitchen and they cooking up that word. You think I'm tripping, but I ain't so disturbed. I'm fucking twisted, I'm so sadistic, but I'm a mystic. Just in case you missed it, pay attention, shut up and listen. I believe in God's high and mighty godly existence. Ayo, 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 ayo. Trying to get my money right, just listen to my songs. I wanna be a movie star on your radio. Ayo, 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 ayo.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Look, you see, I'm dressed up today, goddamn. Today is a serious day. Let me first start off by saying this whole show is based off of a conflict that took place or that is currently taking place in Palestine, okay? And I'm going to refer to that specific location as Palestine because that is what it originally was. Now, look, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to figure out who's right or wrong. But the main point and the reason why I decided to do this show is because a U.S. airman, active airman, decided to take a stand and self-immolate himself on the nation's capital at the Israel embassy. I would absolutely love to go through my normal proceeds, which I think it is unfair if I don't. So, this show is not going to be roses and all this shit. We're going to have this is not going to be a light-worthy show, right? And I'm not trying to be so dull, but you know, it's important for me to come at this professionally, and you know, address these specific issues. I did not want to cover this subject because as an American citizen, I shouldn't have an input. I am not over there suffering. I feel bad for it. I am sorry for that. But I shouldn't have an input, nor do I think our government should. We're going to cover why exactly they do. Look, this is going to be a goddamn history lesson. So let's go ahead and strap in your goddamn bootstraps because we're getting ready to get it popping off. Holla at your boy.
God damn, what a big old ass. What's the mathematics? Your mama, can a brother holler at you? Holler. Holler at you. Holler. You brother. Can a brother holler at you? I know a little, are you gay? I know a little homosexual Mexican love to have you, boy. You spending bucks, big bucks. Love you, have you.
Love to have every last one of you motherfuckers. Jay is in the building. Cleanest motherfucker I know. Listen, brother. Hey. New money is new money, baby. Hey, I'm finna start acting funny, okay? Hey, I had to say we are doing it live based on how, look, I'm at work yesterday. I'll explain it. I'm at work. I believe it was Tuesday. It was about 5, 7. Okay. I was watching a video about, and I remember this time because this shit changed my fucking life. I'm gonna try not to get emotional during this show. I tried to give me some days to recuperate and get my shit together. But I'm at work and I see this notice about this airman who set herself on fire. And of course, I had to see it with my own eyes. At this point, it's nowhere to be found on the internet. But I'm that nigga. I know where to find any and everything, goddamn. You can't hide shit from me. You understand what I'm saying? Especially when it comes down to researching shit and finding shit. And I so happened to go to Reddit, which is always going to have some crazy shit like that. And it had the uncensored version. And watching it, this man is explaining himself. We're gonna see parts of the video, not the graphic part. So I just want to make sure this is clear. You're not going to see the man burning on fire. You're going to hear his voice. You're also going to hear him while he's on fire. That is the only graphic thing that you will see. You will also hear him while he's on fire screaming "Free Palestine." But this man, clear and concisely, decided to go to this embassy and set himself on fire. And that's one of the main reasons why we are going live.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Right. Fucking thing sucks.
It fucking sucks to me that an American citizen had to do that to themselves. Look, I'm trying to go through these things, but I'm dark as hell right now, goddammit. I just cannot find a way to break myself out of this shell. My mom is talking about, because she's a therapist. This is trauma, Eric. And I don't think you need to take this on at all. Listen, ma'am. It is trauma if I don't. And there's narratives out there that is not fucking true. And you know how I do, people. I give it to you raw and unedited, goddammit. That's why we do it live. I give it to you the straight, raw facts in this bitch, okay? So, anybody who got anything or disagree with anything I got to say, say it in the motherfucking comments so we can proceed to this dark-ass show that is necessary.
About this on the show before. You have African-American rappers saying N-word this and N-word that, but a Caucasian can't.
So say it.
Say what?
Say the word you want to say.
I'm not saying that I want to say it. I'm just saying that I can't.
Sure you can. Say it. Say it right now. I will say it with you.
Okay, this is hypocritical. You know we can't.
Sure you can. This is America. Both of you.
Now that the intro is over with, let's proceed on with the show. News of this airman broke.
It comes amid a horrific scene outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., a U.S. airman setting himself on fire. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, in a rare and horrifying act of protest, reminiscent of the days of the Vietnam War, an active duty U.S. airman setting himself on fire over the growing death toll in Gaza.
This call, we just got a man on fire.
That man, identified as 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell from San Antonio, live streaming himself Sunday outside of the gates of the Israeli embassy in Washington. Because of its explicit nature, ABC News is not showing the actual video. In it, Bushnell says, quote, "I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I'm about to engage in an extreme act of protest." Moments later, Bushnell puts his phone down, pours a liquid over his head, and lights himself afire. Screaming, "Free Palestine!" he falls to the ground, engulfed in flames. First responders using fire extinguishers to douse the flames, but it was too late. Bushnell later died.
Seeing that whole video from start to finish changed my fucking life. Like I said, I've been one person that felt that people who aren't there or aren't in relation to that shit shouldn't express openly on social media because it could be fake information. I took forever to try to learn this shit, exactly what's going on, which is what we're going to break down later in the line. But let me explain what exactly happened and what drove him to this. Apparently, there's a report that this gentleman had received an email expressing that he could have been deployed to Israel at a moment's notice. So, in other words, to be prepared. And this is what drove him, after him doing his research on his own and seeing the horrors over this few couple months, or I don't know how long this shit's been going on, and that drove him to want to make a stand. He already had thoughts of getting out, but wanted to do it in a way, and Washington, D.C., an active member of a military, he knew that would make headway. And there was a person in Atlanta, Georgia, a young lady at the fucking embassy in Georgia, set herself on fire. that news didn't hit. But because a military man, he knew exactly what he was doing. It was for the bigger cause. You heard what he said. Those were his exact words that they put on the news station. Exactly. He did not want to be complicit in genocide. Him potentially getting set over there would be him being complicit in genocide. Now, my question is, United States of America, why in the hell are we going to send members of our military to fight their shit? Aid is one thing, but bringing military men
Yesterday, a 25-year-old airman named Aaron Bushnell took his own life in an act of self-immolation, which means setting himself on fire outside of the Israeli embassy, shouting "Free Palestine, Free Palestine." The video and the act itself are both incredibly harrowing footage, which has largely been scrubbed from the internet now, although it was live streamed at the time. Within 1 minute, people from the surrounding area arrived with fire extinguishers to try and extinguish the flames. He was transported to a hospital where he later succumbed to his injuries and died. The airman, Aaron Bushnell, he was only 25 years old. He was a computer systems analyst, and very little has emerged about his past so far. His parents have not spoken out. The military have only held a press conference to acknowledge that he was the person that died in this self-immolation, this protest. So it's quite hard for us to know at the moment what his politics were or to know much about what his aims were other than to protest against what the US government is doing in Gaza.
Well, I just told you his goddamn aims. The nigga was getting ready to get deployed over there. And that was his act of defiance. He is no longer going to be complicit in genocide. How is the United States okay with this shit? I believe on both sides there are bad people. And because of that, you cannot stick to one side, America. You cannot choose a side when this has been stemmed for history. I'm going to also explain further in the show why I understand both sides. But that does not excuse death of babies, death of innocent civilians. That does not excuse that. I made sure I did not want to put too many parts of carnage of what's going on out there in this specific show. This is mainly to show that this man's actions wasn't because of a mental breakdown. This was all premeditated. This man decided to give his fucking cat away, to send his life savings to kids that are suffering in Palestine. He sacrificed his life. And we got niggas on the goddamn internet talking about how this man is a goddamn lunatic when this nigga is really a hero. It wasn't about his life. It was never about his life, clearly. This isn't about him having a mental breakdown and looking for attention. He understood that he was going to die. He had even wrote a letter, which that information is not public at this moment while we're taping this shit. But he knew he was going to die. So how can motherfuckers get on the goddamn internet talking shit like this man is not a hero?
A man set himself on fire outside of the Israeli embassy. That man has died.
He's 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell out of San Antonio, Texas. He did broadcast it live. He live streamed it at the time, but we are not showing you this gruesome video. So we do know in the video, though, the man walks up to the Israeli embassy in uniform, identifying himself as an active member of the Air Force. In the video, he says he will no longer be complicit in genocide and is about to engage in an extreme act of protest. A short time later, he pours a liquid over his head from a cup he is holding and sets himself on fire while shouting "Free Palestine" over and over again before police respond to put those flames out until he collapses and police come to help.
Person set himself on fire Embassy of Israel.
Oh my God, man. That video was so graphic, man. When this man first set ablaze, he tried to set it to his pants and it would not work. At that time, a person is walking up saying, "Hey, can I help you, sir? Can I help you?" He doesn't say shit. He then takes the lighter and put it to a ground and set it ablaze. It starts to surround this man's feet and creep up this man's legs as he says in a low tone, "Free Palestine." And then it crawls all the way up his neck onto his head and he starts screaming it louder, "Free Palestine! Free Palestine!" Then the flames start to take over his whole entire body, including his neck, face, legs, in total. And you can hear this man struggling for breath, trying to utter the words, "Free Palestine." This man stands there. I was in awe of how this man stood up the whole entire time. As you see this man's skin turning black to where he kept screaming "Free Palestine" until he couldn't anymore. And all he could do was stand there as you see his clothes being burnt off of him, his skin charred. You start to see his limbs shake a bit. He turns slightly, and as he tries to turn the other way, his legs give out and he falls. Still on flames. The deepest part for me was him trying to breathe while screaming "Free Palestine" on flames.
The person who set himself on fire outside of the Israeli embassy here in Washington on Sunday has been identified as an active duty U.S. airman. Aaron Bushnell is the name. In the video of the incident, the 25-year-old Bushnell said he would no longer be complicit in genocide before dousing himself with an unknown liquid and igniting himself, repeatedly yelling "Free Palestine." Police officers rushed to douse the flames with fire extinguishers, but Bushnell later died in the hospital from his injuries.
Those details changed my life. I mean, hell, you can still see some remnants of the burns on the ground. In the video, you literally seen the clothes being burned off of his body. I've never seen that. I mean, you got this instance of what happened in Vietnam, or this gentleman stood still, burning himself over the protest. In this case, he had a crowd. And it wasn't technology out there to have sufficient video. This is a big deal. And I'm not finna sit here and act like this nigga was a lunatic, because all this shit was premeditated. When you hear him talk, you don't hear a man who's lost his fucking mind. You hear a man who has his mind made up. That the cause is bigger than him.
Back in the U.S., a pretty shocking incident leading to a security scare in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. A U.S. official tells NBC News an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force set himself on fire in front of the embassy. He has now died from wounds sustained during that incident, according to the official. In a video, you see he's wearing his military uniform and says he does not want to be complicit in Israeli violence against Palestinians. Hoda?
All right, Raf Sanchez for us there in Israel. Raf, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. We keep going over this shit so that it is clear what his motives are. So it's clear, so there's no narrative about him losing his fucking mind and having a mental health crisis. I don't know why the fuck that narrative comes out when it's clear what he says.
The Secret Service has now searched a hotel room used by a U.S. airman who died after setting himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell was originally from Cape Cod. He was an engineering student at Southern New Hampshire University. Investigators believe Bushnell started a live stream of himself Sunday night before calling Israel's war against Hamas genocide and lighting himself on fire in protest.
Now, this next clip is going to be hard to listen to because you're going to hear the man's voice. We read all this shit. We had the news express what it was. Now you're going to hear this man's voice with him walking up, him attempting to set himself ablaze, and him while he's ablazed, screaming "Free Palestine." And I want you to specifically hear this man's voice while he's ablaze, gasping for air to say "Free Palestine."
The Secret Service.
I am an active duty member of the United States Air Force, and I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I'm about to engage in an extreme act of protest, but compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their colonizers, it's not extreme at all.
Free Palestine. Hi, sir, can I help you? Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Go, 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 go! Keep on! Hey, I'm going on. I need fire extinguisher. They have it right here. It's coming. He said he has it.
Do you see this fucking officer with a gun on him? We have a man burning on fire. And you have a gun on him? He's not going after anybody. He's screaming "Free Palestine." And I get it, bro. You don't see shit like this every day. This is a Secret Service, man. I'm sure you got important people near, but you don't see shit like this. I know that officer was scared shitless. Saying that shit up in person, seeing it on the internet is one thing, but in person, feeling the heat and the flames, this nigga don't know what else to do. That just shows that we need officers to be trained in specific situations, because in 2024, the world is fucked. Everything is crazy. Niggas are killing themselves, killing everybody, and mass people. It's going crazy in here. And yes, mental health is an issue today. I still think that through all the goddamn studies, there's not enough shit to help. But I just want y'all to know, I felt the pain. Just in the voice alone. Outside of the uncensored version where you see everything in totality. I remember when I heard about this guy who sat in Vietnam by himself and burned ablaze. There was photos. I was in black and white. And I'm like, God damn. I can't imagine being in that state of mind. Aaron Bushnell did not die in vain. Aaron Bushnell is a hero. Aaron Bushnell didn't do this for attention. Well, I guess he did, but not for himself. While this man is burning on fire, struggling to breathe in this nigga's last moments of his life, you hear him screaming, "Free Palestine." Isn't this what military men and women are supposed to do? Fight for freedom. Aren't we living in the land of the free? I really want to go down this history lesson. But just imagine us living where we are in America. And Canada decides some shit happens in Canada. They have refugees. They come to United States. Want to make a name for themselves. And develop their own government. To where they're pushing us out of our own cities. And both Canadians and Americans are both so proud that we can't figure out a discussion, so we have a fucking outsider that makes the decision for us. Let's say that other person is Mexico. Mexico says, well, hey, since you niggas can't make it happen, we're going to tell y'all how to live and where to live in America. Regardless of if the fucking Native Americans was here before. And in response, you get attacked. What are you not going to attack back? So you fast forward to today and you attack. And then you got forces like Mexico that is siding with the niggas Canada that came in and took United States. Saying that what you're doing, even though it's in defense of where you were, you're a terrorist. That's exactly what's going on. How can you be labeled a terrorist when we're here? This is our home. So this is to help you understand what is going on out there in Palestine. Look at the Pentagon reacting to this. And I want the goddamn president to say something about this.
Secondly, yesterday an active duty service member set himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy in protest of U.S. support for Israel's operations in Gaza. Has the secretary been briefed on Airman Bushnell, and is he concerned that maybe this airman's actions may indicate that there's a bigger issue within the military as far as U.S. support for this ongoing operation?
Yeah, so the Secretary is following the situation. I know the Air Force has confirmed the airman's death. They do plan to provide additional information 24 hours after next of kin notifications are complete. It certainly is a tragic event. We do extend our condolences to the airman's family. In terms of the incident itself, Tara, as you know, the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department has the lead for responding to questions about that incident. So anything on that, I'd have to refer you to them.
Well, why the fuck don't we have a comment for? This is your motherfuckers that's working for you. Thank you for your passion. No, thank you. Free Palestine. Why is it that we're talking about free Palestine when they live there? If this happened to us in America or anywhere else where you live, and you were living there, how would that roll? Let's switch the damn roles again. We fucked around and removed the Native Americans and made America. What if those Native Americans galvanized themselves after being tired of being pushed around and decided to take their land back? Or is America going to allow that to happen and let them make their own government? Of course not. Why are we supporting what Israel is doing to the Palestinians? Oh, but they're terrorists. Hamas did this and that. What caused it? What has been going on to them for this whole time? Since 1948. Look at Aaron Bushnell, friend, former military airman, on Aaron Bushnell, what he did.
I met Aaron Bushnell in basic training, and from the first day that I met him, I could tell that he was just a really sweet person. I could tell very quickly that he had a strong sense of justice. I want people to remember that his death is not in vain, that he died to spotlight this message. I don't want anybody else to die this way. If he had asked me about this, I would have begged him not to. I would have done anything I could to stop him. But obviously we can't get him back, and we have to honor the message that he left. He didn't have thoughts of suicide. He had thoughts of justice. That's what this was about. It wasn't about his life. It was about using his life to send a message.
And that message has been heard by me. Have you guys heard it? See, on the consensus, if you ask regular ass people on the ground how they feel about it, most people that I have talked to say free Palestine. If it's black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Mexican, it doesn't matter. Free Palestine. You got superstars out here taking sides when they don't know what the hell is going on. Niggas don't have the time to do the research themselves. So they take off of what they see on social media. This is why I have not decided to say anything about it until now. I've had enough. I've been feeling this way as far as my opinions, but I needed to be certain about the history that took place in Palestine. I had to gather information from watching different news sources to watching actual breakdowns of what the fuck happened from different ethnic groups and people to get one clear, concise message. In this research that I did preparing for this show, it led to questions that immediately was answered by my research, which led to more questions that I had to get answered to get a better idea of what's going on. You got news sources out here with agendas that is better king to talking points that come from the goddamn Pentagon than actual talking points that is supposed to be, even though we criticize Russia media and North Korea media for having propaganda, but we don't talk about clear and concise enough about the media news coverage and their propaganda tactics, trying to sway the narrative. That is very much so taking place here in America. From CNN to MSNBC to Fox News, all collectively working together. What y'all niggas don't really understand is that they are fond of each other. This battle is to store us up, to keep certain people in power. This is not what we're not understanding as American citizens. And then Russia found a way to infiltrate our asses, and now all countries are using it. Social media is fake. Don't believe everything that you listen to. Don't Look Up, that movie, is addressing that very vital issue. Aaron Bushnell found the truth. Aaron Bushnell couldn't sit by. He understands this monster that I'm describing to you guys clear as day, and understood that he needed to set the narrative. What better person than a military person? And let me just say, this don't need to happen again. You do not need to set yourself on fire to get your message across. We don't need any more. My heart can't take it. American pride and American citizens cannot take this. Outside of the mass killings and the carnage that's going on, the racism, the socialism that's going on in this motherfucker, I can't take it. And neither could Aaron Bushnell. I understand why he did it. But that does not give everybody else a platform to do such things. Because after a while, it's going to become, you've heard of the story, the boy that cried wolf. If multiple other people decide to take that stance and set themselves on fire, and whatever cause it might be for, moments like this, him taking a stand, will be all for naught. So please, do not find reverence in what he did to put yourself in that position and do it yourself. That will not help your cause or anybody else's cause. I gotta say though, in this specific moment, Aaron Bushnell is a hero. And for anybody else who is on fucking social media putting this out, you deserve to get your ass whooped. You insensitive bitch. Oh, I've been seeing some shit. Oh, well, this guy's a fucking idiot. Why would he kill us? Bitch, did you understand the cause? See, I understand simple-minded fucks like you can't put your own self, put situations over you. Because you're fucked. Because you're simple-minded. Because you're little. You are little in the brain. You are little in the spirit. And that nigga, Aaron Bushnell, is a warrior. Standing there in flames. Still screaming free Palestine. Mustering as much as he could to get that a point across. Rest in peace, Aaron Bushnell.
Hello, loves. I am reposting this because I want to talk about something important. I didn't understand why some people thought I was condoning suicide until somebody pointed out when I said he is a martyr for the cause. I do apologize because I did not mean it that way. It is about Aaron Bushnell. He was a member of the United States Air Force, and he lit himself on fire in front of the Israeli U.S. Embassy in D.C. yesterday. He said prior to this, because he was live streaming it, that he will no longer be complicit to genocide. He stated that he's about to do something extreme, but it doesn't really compare to the pain that the people in Palestine are experiencing. I honestly cannot think of a worse way to go, being burned alive. It is the most extreme form of protest to take your life in the most violent way. I have not seen the footage. I only saw a picture, and I will not share it here. So towards the end, he started screaming free Palestine, and then he started screaming in agony from the pain. May he enter the highest forms of heaven. I am not condoning what he did. I pray that his family finds peace, but it still needs to be talked about. Otherwise, he died for nothing.
Aaron Bushnell did not die in vain, nor calling him a hero or glorifying him is in whatever way glorifying suicide. You killing yourself will not help. Your voice will. And I know it's kind of hard to explain, well, hey, what he did was noble. This will forever go down in history. This will be in the history books. Because the Americans, the actual American voice, the minority, not people who are stuck and fixated on American agendas, but people who are honest and truthful people will speak out. This is what I'm doing here. This is not right. Both sides are not right. But understanding the underlying history, which is what we're going to go through very, very shortly, this is not right. Look at the vigil outside for Aaron Bushnell at the embassy in Washington, D.C.
Right now, these are some live pictures of a vigil underway outside the Israeli embassy in Northwest D.C. People there are gathering to remember 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell.
Yeah, so Bushnell died after setting himself on fire outside of that embassy yesterday. He made it clear in a disturbing video that he was protesting Israel's military action in Gaza. He shouted "Free Palestine" as he set himself on fire. Bushnell was an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force and was from San Antonio, Texas.
K-Town. Here's more from the people at his vigil.
All our parents, sons and daughters. All our parents, sons and daughters. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
I thought, what did it take for Aaron to do this? What did it take? He must have been so driven by what he saw. I saw him as almost a religious figure in that he sacrificed his life for this carnage.
Here for Aaron's vigil. Aaron, who had set himself on fire for the sake of Palestinian liberation. We're all here to support and to stand because he did this so that our message can be louder.
You know, I did have a Palestinian friend of mine, and I'm finna cuss your ass out too, nigga. I had a Palestinian friend of mine who was like, well, I mean, I appreciate the cause, but that was kind of dumb. All Palestinians should appreciate Aaron Bushnell and what he did. Don't get silk pajamas because you're here in America. Because like I said, this can easily happen to us here. And if it did, how would we respond? Would we not take extreme measures to fight our oppressors? Would we not? Even regardless of what it takes, America will do anything to keep superiority. Anything. For those of you that don't really know, we're not all these good guys. We've done terrible things. Trump has pointed that out about us. But it's not about the past. It's about the current. And what's going on currently, we're still doing terrible things. Are we really the land of the free? When we got free people taking it upon themselves to send a message because we're supporting people who are taking away other people's freedom.
We are here in honor of the sacrifice of all of our martyrs, as well as Aaron Bushnell, to say we will carry on the torch of protesting and fighting against this imperialist system because it is our moral obligation to do so.
It is my moral obligation to speak the truth about what's going on here. What he did was not in vain. What he did was not stupid. What he did served a purpose. What he did had a message. What he did sent the message. Have you guys heard it? Have you heard it? We got entities like Howard University. We got MSNBC with a goddamn Israel flag pushing that agenda. When I've said multiple times, Americans on the ground with no interest in pushing the agenda says free Palestine. And look at this bitch, Megyn Kelly.
Here's Wajahat Ali. There was a poster on X saying, I strongly oppose valorizing any form of suicide as a noble, principled, or legitimate form of political protest. Wajahat Ali responds, there is no evidence Aaron Bushnell was suffering from mental illness, other than the fact that he set himself on fire and took his own life at 25, as you point out, in an act that will do absolutely nothing to change the national conversation around Palestine. His last words were free Palestine. This is not the right horse to die on, Wajahat Ali. They really do see this guy as noble and totally sane and competent in, body and mind, and made this just a choice. It's like on the menu of things you can do, like get your
Bitch, shut it up. Shut your ass up. And I use this clip in fair use because I'm finna cuss your nasty, stinking, bleeding out the ears ass. See, I felt bad for your stinking ass when Trump came out to your motherfucking ass and got your ass removed. Now I'm happy because your ass done turned into the motherfucking she-devil that you are, ho. Bitch. It meant everything this man did this. A horse to die on, bitch. Find a dick to ride on. You goddamn it. Please. Because it seems like you need one, ho. Pushing that agenda. Not really understanding the actual matter of why this patriot decided to stand for. This is what he was sworn to. Not only for the American freedom, but freedom. We're going to cover shortly, because now we're going to get into the history of what's going on. Aaron Bushnell did not die in vain. He died for a noble cause. And I'll be damned if I don't attempt to get that message out. Now, for those of you that are interested in really understanding what the fuck is going on, we're finna have a little history lesson for y'all. I got my handy dandy notebook, and I'm finna go down, and we're gonna go over what the fuck has happened over these years, starting with the kingdom of Israel. Now, just to be clear, Jewish people was there first. 3,000 years ago, where it was called the Kingdom of Israel. The land of Israel, which is considered by Jews to be the promised land, was the place where Jewish identity was formed, although this identity was formed gradually, reaching much of its current form in the exiles or pre-exile period. The history of Jews and Judaism in the land of Israel begins in the second millennia BCE, when Israelites emerged as an outgrowth of southern Canaanites. During biblical times, the kingdom of Israel exiled, but then split into two kingdoms occupying a highlight zone. So this is where things get dicey for Jewish people. It is split into two regions, the kingdom of Israel, Samaria, in the north, and the kingdom of Judea in the south. This is where they start to get exiled. Okay, so the kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Neo-Aryan Empire around 722 BCE. This is biblical times, niggas. And the kingdom of Judea by the Neo-Babylonian Empire around 586 BC, initially exiled to Babylon. Upon the defeat of the Neo-Babylonian Empire by the Archimedean Empire under Cyrus the Great. This is around, once again, 538 BC. Many of the Jews exiled returned to Jerusalem to build the Second Temple. So these wars commenced a long period of violence, enslavement, displacement, forced conversion, and forced migration against the local Jewish population by the Roman Empire, beginning the Jewish people migrating and exiling to other places. So we fast forward to the Ottoman Empire. Okay? Now, Europe became dominant by nation states with the rise of nationalism in Europe. The 19th century saw the rise of nationalism under the Ottoman Empire, which resulted in the establishment of an independent Greece in 1821, Serbia in 1835, and Belgium in 1887 and 1878. Unlike the European nations, the Ottoman Empire made little attempt to integrate conquered people through cultural assimilations. Instead, Ottoman policy was to rule through a mullet system consisting of confessional communities for each religion. The empire never integrated its conquest economically and therefore never established a blinking link with the subjects between 1828 and 1908. The empire tried to catch up with the industrialization, I can't even speak, and rapid emerging world market by reforming state and society. Okay, so at this point, the Ottoman Empire took over. They held that bitch for 400 years. And then shit happened. Okay, so we talk about the Ottoman Empire invaded that area in 1561. Ottoman Turks invaded and occupied Pakistan, which lasted over 400 years. They held it until what? 1918. The defeat and the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire was from 1908 to 1922. So this is where shit gets real, okay? So British, after the Ottoman Empire takes over, at this point we had Palestinians in this area during the Ottoman Empire. The British mandate for Palestinians takes over, okay? Let me go ahead and show this shit here. So, the British mandate for Palestine from 1918 and 1948 was the outcome of several factors. The British occupation of territories previously ruled by the Ottoman Empire, the peace treaties that brought the First World War to an end, the principle in self-determination that emerged after war. Now, what brought the Jewish people back, because at this point, the Palestinians are there. They were there during the Ottoman Empire. Once the Ottoman Empire shit came a fluke, you have active Palestinians there. British gets involved, takes over the land. At this point, you got a nigga right here named Hitler, who exiles the Jewish people, who was exiled out of the land of Israel at one point, exiles them out of Germany, it executes Jewish people. And Jewish people are like, hey, we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to get the hell out of here. Well, where do we go? It can't be nowhere where this nigga's finna come kill everybody. Why don't we go back to our promised land, where the hell we came from before? Because we were there first. They go to the Britain, who's over this area, which the Palestinians, with open arms, allows the Jewish people to come in. But here's the problem. The Jewish people are coming into Palestine like, well, nigga, we run this shit. We used to be here, nigga. This is our shit. Even though the people who was living at that time, it really wasn't theirs. It was their ancestors before. But once y'all niggas got exiled and you left, what gives you claim? And this is where the problem lies, because Palestinians like, well, hold up, motherfuckers. We let y'all niggas come in because you was exiled because Hitler was after your ass. Tension grew. And this forced the British mandate to really take charge. The British mandate for Palestine took place from 1918 and 1948. I've already explained that. The British administration was formalized by the League of Nations under the Palestine Mandate in 1923 as a part of petitioning of the Ottoman Empire following World War I. The mandate reaffirmed the 1917 British commitment to the Declaration for the Independence of Palestine of a national home for Jewish people, which progressed to carry it out. A British census in 1918 estimated over 700,000 Arabs in the land of Palestine, with the addition of 56,000 Jews. So, this is where, around 1918, how it was. But now, as time goes on, given under British rule, over the years, this is what it looked like. Now, in 1937, following a 6 months Arab general strike, because the niggas got tired of dealing with these Jewish niggas that they allowed to come into their nation. They didn't already built their families here and shit. They didn't had enough, so they're fighting against the Jewish people. At this point, after a 6 months Arab general strike and armed insurrection that aimed to pursue national independence to secure the country from foreign control, which is the British, and of course the Jewish people trying to take over, the British established the Peel Commission. The Jewish population had been attacked during the Arab revolt, leading to an idea that the two populations could not be reconciled. The commission concluded that the mandate had become unworkable and recommended partition to an Arab state linked Transjordan, a small Jewish state, and the mandated zone. So, as you see, in 1946, once UK was like, hey, I'm tired of dealing with this shit, I'm out. Look, the Jewish people in 1946, Palestine, this is Palestine shit. Jewish people, since y'all done built your shit here already, and y'all prideful, not trying to go nowhere, I bet. Then this could be little bits and its and pieces of course, y'all asses, Israel. The UN plan, they decided to branch it out since so much Jewish people had migrated over the years, especially during the small time. Look, from 1946 to 1947, the difference. They was like, look, well, in 1947, let's go ahead and give Israel this piece of land, and this piece of land. That is in the white here. And then all this green will be Palestine. Since y'all niggas can't work it out between each other, this is what we're going to do for y'all asses. Bet. Now we out. But the problem lied in all these white spots. Free Palestine, goddammit. I see you, Charlie Smith. And all these white spots still lied Palestinians. So that created more problems. So come 1949 to 1967, the map was cut out even more. Where Palestine is only the West Bank and the Gaza. Mind you, over years and years and years, people have lived in the totality of what we call Palestine. Fast forward to 2012, their section is getting shrunk up even more. Imagine if we are in America and this shit is happening to us. We had the whole United States and they took it all from us, shortly but surely. Would we not fight back? Would we not take a stand? This is how the Palestinians feel. And look, I understand where the Jewish people coming from. Look, I've been pushed around all different kinds of motherfucking places. I ain't taking it no more. We're going back to our motherfucking home. But there's something called diplomacy. Jewish people want the totality of Israel or Palestine. And Palestine want the totality of theirs. And Palestine fucked up taking Jewish refugees. Which they didn't really have fucking control because the British was over it. Israel didn't have diplomacy with Palestine. They had diplomacy with the UK. Hence, how they were able to strong-arm themselves to take over Palestine. So, this historic event going on of people having the promised land, which is the promised land of all religions, this has been a big deal, which results into what we are seeing today. But if we understand that, America, we understand the land of the free, we understand that, why the fuck are we siding with Israel? Why are we even involved anyway? When we understand, we've been the niggas who's been the conquerors. We've been the niggas who fought for our freedom and our land. What are we doing? Let's look at why there's a key to understanding the Palestinian history.
The borders of Palestine have been changed forcefully over time. In 1931, there were more than 850,000 Palestinian Arabs in the region. But with the rise of Hitler, Jewish flight from Europe became even more urgent, and Palestine started to see the biggest wave of Jewish immigration yet. A UN special committee proposed the land be divided into two states, a Jewish state and an Arab state. Within this proposed area were hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs who had lived there for generations. By the end of 1947, Zionists had several well-developed paramilitary forces. The largest one, known as the Haganah. The Haganah adopted what was called Plan Dalet, or Plan D, a set of brutal instructions called for the destruction of Arab villages by setting fire to, blowing up, and planting mines. Plan D became the blueprint for carrying out the ethnic cleansing of historic Palestine to make room for a new state. Roughly 750,000 Palestinians had been forcefully expelled, and more than 500 villages destroyed.
Ransacked, pushed out, exiled. If you didn't understand how Israel was created over Palestine, here's another damn video to help your retarded ass out.
How exactly was Israel born on land that was already called Palestine? In November 1947, the United Nations voted to partition the country. This plan marked off 55% of Palestine for a Jewish state, but the UN never explained how it could be a Jewish state when half the people in its territory were Palestinian. To nobody's surprise, Palestinians rejected the UN's plan, but it was accepted by the Zionist movement, which had worked for decades to turn Palestine into a Jewish state. Britain had been occupying Palestine for almost 30 years, but around this time they announced that they were quitting the country and going home, and the Zionists
The United Kingdom is the reason, Charlie, and it's not your fault, but the United Kingdom is the reason, because Charlie's from the UK. I don't know if y'all know that. I appreciate your support, so I'm not ostracizing you or alienating you. But the United Kingdom, politically, is the reason why this is the case right now. Because they assisted in bringing Jewish people, allowing Jewish people to take over Palestine. It was them. And we're helping their ass, being complicit, sending aid, and potentially sending men of arms over there. What y'all need to understand is what it's like to be a child from 1917 on to present day in Palestine. In the name of religion. You can't tell me that's not sad. You can't tell me. And here's a message from kids from London on Palestine. I'm telling you, the people know the truth.
Do you have a message for the kids in Palestine?
Free, free.
Palestine!
Free, free.
Palestine!
Free, free.
My love! Message for the children in Palestine.
Yes, be careful from where you're going and don't get lost.
That is amazing. Did you know that you're a hero for being here? Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Well, I'm telling you now, there's people that are way older than you that are scared to be here. Very proud of you. Have a nice day, my love.
Thank you.
Hey, why are you marching?
To tell Israel stop killing Gaza.
Can I hear you say free, free?
Free, free.
Palestine!
Free, free.
Palestine!
That's totally great.
Do you have a message for the kids in Palestine? Yeah, what do you want to say?
Bubbles.
Bubbles? What's that? Oh, we love you. Is that what you said? My love.
United States, you are on the wrong side of history. Even children know it. You are on the wrong side of history. You can't tell me that this carnage is okay. You can't tell me. Because attacks like this is what allows United States to call them terrorists.
We are at war. Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu declared after Saturday morning saw a relentless barrage of rockets launched by Hamas into southern and central Israel, marking one of Gaza's largest assaults in years. Here are 5 videos that show the surprise attack on Israel.
شباب سرايا القدس المظفرة.
Charlie Smith, an emotional UK person. I don't even know how to explain that. A young lady from the UK expresses that she feels passionately about, she says, Charlie Smith says, I feel so passionately about this because there's absolutely no reason this many innocent lives should be lost over politics. That video of my British babies brought tears to my eyes. The babies know. The babies know. This is not right. Let's take a look at Israel striking Gaza, expressing that the intensity will not change.
Israel is bombing the Gaza Strip relentlessly, targeting Hamas leaders, a university, and the port. hitting the border crossing with Egypt, where Palestinians are trying desperately to get out. Power and water supplies have been cut. The people of Gaza have no choice who rules them and are already suffering. This man doing all he can to comfort his daughters. Don't be scared, he tells them. Don't be scared. Around 1,000 Palestinians have been killed so far, and this is just the opening phase. Israel is now preparing to send in tanks and troops. Israel's defense minister promising a war that will change Gaza forever. We started the offensive from the air. Later on, we will also come from the ground, he said, adding, it will only intensify.
Killing babies. And look, there's reports on both sides. Israel's saying y'all killing our babies over here. You're attacking us. Whereas Israel is actually openly attacking citizens and innocent people. If we are going to be noble enough to support Israel, we got to make sure we call them out on the shit that is going on. If you are openly killing, this shit been on the news for over a year now. Babies are dying, and we're sending bombs and ammunition to continue killing babies, innocent people. What is the difference between Ukraine, who we support, and Palestine? What is the goddamn difference? Why is it that we shame Russia, but we glorify Israel? Russia feels like Ukraine, which the essence of Kiev is the essence of Moscow. The culture that is in Moscow originated in Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine. They feel like Ukraine belongs to them. But us as United States recognize that Ukraine is its own sovereign nation. They built their own families and infrastructure. They are their own people. Hence why we support them and condemn Russia. But we are okay with Israel taking over shortly but surely the totality of Palestine. What's the goddamn difference? Ukrainians been there, and so have the damn Palestinians. What is the difference? The difference is politics. Palestinians, because of what took place as far as 9/11, Arabs don't hold as much heart-wrenching and as much solitude to us as Americans, to the American government, as Jewish people did during the Holocaust. And newsflash, Jewish people suffered for thousands of years. But where's this damn support for black people, Africans? They suffered too. But that's not a part of the United States agenda. Let's also go forward into what Kanye West has been saying for the longest. As far as them, even though Kanye West is a bit racist, I must admit. But Jewish people have a lot of power. And that power comes from them fighting for their freedom and justice. You know, you people who fight against what they hate tend to become exactly what they hate and despise. So, in this instance, Jewish people are just as bad as Hitler and the Nazis. Taking over Palestine, it's just as bad. You're killing babies, you're crucifying them. The act and the excuse is to protect Israel, right? But Israelites, people, Jewish people, migrated to Palestine. They took over. You can't tell me this is right. And United States government is on the wrong side of the history. You can't tell me this is all right.
How did this present situation begin?
Because Israel was complacent. They actually thought Hamas was behaving itself. They did not expect the attack to happen. But then on the 7th and 8th of October, the border defenses were breached and Hamas just went on a rampage in southern Israel, killing 1,400 odd people. Several of them were very sadistically torture, rape, killed, and putting it on mass distribution channels. Obviously, Israel is going to respond to it, which is what they're doing right now. The question really is, what did they think Israel was going to do after an attack like that? Like sit down and knit sweaters, really?
Well, sir, clearly you don't know the history. What do you expect the Palestinians to do? Continue taking that shit? When Israel want the totality of Palestine? This is a very complex situation, very intricate, and can't be explained away just based off of recent events, because the actions does not take place in recent events. Now look, I'm not making an excuse for Hamas. I'm not. I am not making an excuse for that extreme group, because based on their actions, they are an extreme terrorist group. But what we're not mentioning is the extreme terrorist group in the Israel nation. What they are doing, which are war crimes, which is the same thing we blasted Russia about, for killing innocent people. It's all about agendas, folks. And Palestinians are not on the United States agenda. So look at this. Israel just ordered 1.1 million people in Gaza to leave their homes in 24 hours. So now 1.1 million Palestinians are forced to move out of Gaza, effectively allowing more Jewish people to move in Palestine. That's the whole goal, a totality of Israel. But here's even more complex news. What are the Palestinians supposed to do? Because now they can't even move out of Gaza.
There's only two ways to get out of the Gaza Strip. There's the north border crossing, which goes into Israel, and then there's the southern crossing that goes into Egypt. Since Hamas's attacks, Israel has closed this northern border, leaving the crossing with Egypt as the only way out. But Egypt doesn't want to let Palestinians in. The country is not interested in housing a bunch of refugees from Gaza, and they're worried that because Israel is planning to invade the Gaza Strip, if these Palestinians come in, they may never go home. So Palestinians are effectively trapped in this small rectangle that is turning more and more into a war zone. Joe Biden swooped in and made a deal with Egypt to let humanitarian aid come in through this southern border. But there's still no news on whether or not the Palestinians will be able to leave, and that is a big question for these 2 million people living in Gaza. If you want to better understand global politics, follow along for more.
Hey, shout out to that man right there, bro. Go subscribe to him, Johnny Harris. Oh my God, please don't strike me down, brother. I love your videos. I am a fan and a subscriber, and you help me understand a lot of political news that is hard to understand with maps and the way you explain things. Go subscribe to this man's channel, Jesus Christ. But where are they to go? So what else is left? To kill them? Which is what we're seeing? United States, how is this okay? What are they to do? They can't get the hell out of Gaza, even though they was just ordered to get the hell out. They're being bombed nonstop with American bombs, no less. Oh, and just fun fact, Russia, that's bombing Ukraine, are using American technology in their bombs, by the way. Private American companies, which I learned from Johnny Harris, have sold under the table to Russia computer chips and all these things that make the bombs work, and Russian bombs. These pieces that are put together and sold under the table through different networks, shipped to one area and then shipped to another, which is in Russia. Ukraine is being bombed by American technology, by the way. See, this aid that we send out comes back to fuck us regularly. Same thing with Osama bin Laden. So, America, is this the right horse to die on? Is Israel the right horse to die on? And Israel done already showed that they some snaky motherfuckers. Because the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, whoever the hell, his expression, he's pissed at the United States. Is this the right horse to die on? Have history not taught us enough about what we do? George Washington said it best. It's best for us to stay in our own affairs and not get caught up in foreign affairs. When the United States is nothing but caught up in foreign affairs. We are supposed to be the land of the free, and we want the whole world to follow that. Even if it's at means of terrible, evil actions that we still continue to support. We are not the heroes and saviors. We are not who we claim we are. Now look at Biden saying that his support for Israel is a rock solid and unwavering.
My administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering. Let me say this as clearly as I can. This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to seek advantage. The world is watching.
The world is watching. But what about the security of Palestine? Can anybody tell me that? What about their security? Or we just only give a fuck about Israel and our politics? Let's take a look at Richard Nixon expressing why we will never not support, or why we will never not support Israel.
You make the observation in your book, and you say that you have said it many times when you were president of the United States, that no president is ever going to desert Israel, right?
Correct. I put it more bluntly. I said, as I told congressional leaders during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, no American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
So why then would the United States continue to burden itself with huge loans, in some cases outright grants, to the Israelis, jeopardize possibly young American fighting men, when there is no strategic value involved, or little strategic
Because the
value?
United States is concerned by more than strategic values. That's maybe a weakness, but it's the way we are. But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment because of what happened during the Holocaust, and a moral commitment because it is a democracy, the only democracy in that area. And under the circumstances, that is why American presidents and the American people in the future will support all out the survival of Israel if it's attacked.
So for democracy. So democracy stands for taking over land of innocent people who were there first. Because democracy is supposed to be this good difference from dictatorships, from socialism, from communism. This is what democracy stands for. Because we feel bad because of what happened to them in the Holocaust, even though we turned a blind eye during that time. So this is our way of always supporting them for our mishaps from when they were getting slaughtered. We don't hold the same support for Asians. I mean, we do based off of the laws that the government, executive orders that the fucking president passed, based on some killings that happened, I believe, in Georgia on Asian people. But there's not this same when it comes down to Hispanics, Arabs, blacks. But please let some Jewish people get killed in any way. It's going to be a motherfucking problem. I support supporting Jewish people. I do not support supporting people who do evil things. This is why we don't support communism. This is why we don't support dictatorships. This is why we push out democracy. But in the name of democracy is the reason why we are allowing this to happen to Palestine. Guys, I'm getting deep in this motherfucker. We almost over with, guys. With the last 2 clips, and this show's over with. But I cannot give it to you no rawer and realer than this. I'm sorry, I can't. You can't get your political information nowhere else like this. South Africa has a genocide suit against Israel based on their acts.
Understanding South Africa's genocide case against Israel, Part 5, Israel's defense. We covered South Africa's case in Part 3, and now we're looking at the transcript of Israel's oral arguments in defense at the ICJ. Israel says that what's going on in Gaza is tragic and heartbreaking and brutal, but they say it's not genocide. They say that this war is one that Israel did not start and did not want, and that this is an act of self-defense. And then they say that South Africa is weaponizing this term, genocide, and in the process they're weakening the ability of other countries to use this term when genocide is actually happening. They lay out the damage that Hamas inflicted on October 7th. And then they say that South Africa is ignoring all of this, saying that if anyone is facing genocide, it's Israel. But their key argument in this document is their inherent right to take all legitimate measures to defend their citizens. They say this over and over in this argument. It's the foundation of their justification for what they are doing in Gaza. There's obviously a lot more to this document. You can go read it over in the ICJ website. In the final video, I will go over what we can expect to happen next.
So the reason why it's okay, this is what helps Israel sleep at night. Because it's for their own security. Because of what took place as far as Hamas attacking. Because to be honest, historically, Hamas didn't start this shit. Historically. And recent day, yeah. But historically, Hamas didn't start this shit. It started with Jewish people coming to their land, United Kingdom aiding and abetting the Jewish people to take over that land. They allowed fighting to take place. And the United Kingdom way out of that land was to say, this is your area and this is your area. But their justification is, of course, the bullshit that they're saying. Oh, our security, for our sovereignty, for our freedom. When they're taking it away. And the United States is right there with them. We fight against terrorists. They bombed us on 9/11 and they're trying to take over Israel. Come on now.
Understanding South Africa's genocide case against Israel, Part 6, the final part, what happens next. The International Court of Justice has now heard evidence from South Africa and Israel. They issued an emergency order telling Israel to, quote, take all measures to prevent genocide. Israel must report back by February 26 to show the court that they're doing this. But Israel is saying, we will continue to do what is necessary in Gaza. Meanwhile, the ICJ doesn't have any mechanisms for actually enforcing their emergency order. But what South Africa or another country could do is go to the UN Security Council to ask for their help. The council actually has more power to do things like imposing sanctions or embargoes, could even use force. But this is very unlikely because the United States is one of the 5 countries at the UN with veto powers, and they've already shown that they intend to use it when it comes to Israel. So international law is far from perfect. But we have to remember that this court was born out of the worst war the world had ever seen, to judge the most difficult cases of our time. However imperfectly, the system is still working. So that's it for a quick explanation. I'm going to keep following this case and reporting on it. If you want to understand, follow along for more.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do feel like I have successfully explained in totality the actual problem from the start to currently. What side are you on? The United States is clearly on the wrong side of history for political purposes only. Not only given that Jewish people have United States government by the balls, not only in the entertainment sector, but in power alone. What is taking place with the addition of the United States help is unfathomable. It is disgusting. It is despicable. And it needs to come to an end. And this is how I feel. I do not stand as a proud American citizen with the United States government on this factor. They are incorrect. They are wrong. And this needs to change. We need to have a president that have balls and stand up for what's right. Clearly, Republicans and Democrats can't help the American people. They are only interested in their own ideologies and pockets. It's time for a new party. I've been saying it. I've been brought out the Black Party. It's time for a new party. It's time for people to actually stand for what's right. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the damn show. At the end of the day, Aaron did not die in vain. Palestine needs to be free. And I feel like this horse that the United States is dying on will bring this nation down and won't make us the superpower that we so sought after to be. Let's not take in consideration that the US dollar is crumbling based off of sanctions that we put on Russia, which I don't agree with Russia and their actions, just like I don't agree with Israel and their actions. My name is Eric Lloyd. I'm out this motherfucker. Holla at your boy.
Looking at this. Holla, 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 holla. Holla, 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 let me holler at you, 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 let me holler at you. Holla, 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 holla. Holla, 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 holla. Hey, yo.